So race has been factored into clinical guidelines and algorithms and risk adjustment tools for a very long time.
It never really sat well with me when we would learn about diseases in such a simplified manner that, this is a disease of this racial or ethnic group, like sickle cell anemia is seen in Black patients and cystic fibrosis is seen in white patients. We actually have identified a gene, and we have a widely available test that we can use on all patients. So if a patient is presenting with those exact same symptoms, why are we not necessarily going to that widely available test right away to try to diagnose them? And time has shown that it's led to diagnostic delays.
So often race is being used as a proxy for some other more accurate variable, which could be a biological measurement, like say muscle mass, or a genetic variation, or some environmental factor. And so using race when these other variables are available is just bad science.
One of the most important things is to recognize that differences in disease prevalence, so how common a disease is, can definitely vary across racial and ethnic groups, but it's not because of race or skin color in and of itself. The fastest growing group of individuals in this country are actually those that self-identify as having mixed racial or ethnic backgrounds. And so there's really limited applicability when we start to think about actually using race in clinical decision-making.
We all know, those of us who are working in this field, we all recognize and know and have been trying to undo the teaching that race is biological, because it is not biological.
Equitable care is quality care. Equitable care is safe care. And I think we cannot overemphasize how important that is when we talk with patients about the importance of recognizing equitable approaches to the way that we take care of them.
So there have been clear instances of where guidelines and algorithms have potentially caused harm to patients. I think the one most notable for most folks who've been watching this field is the area of kidney disease, where in fact the equation that we used for years to assess kidney function was different in Black patients and white patients. And Black patients, because race was included in their calculation, made it such that they were diagnosed later with severe kidney disease and less likely, for example, to be able to get a transplant.
In pulmonary function testing, there's also an equation that includes race. And that pulmonary function testing or spirometry is used to diagnose lung disease. Having this race adjustment with this calculation, it would basically underestimate lung disease in Black and Asian people.
So we are really fortunate to have had a significant boost to this work from a recent report from the National Academies that focused on what's the appropriate role of race and ethnicity in biomedical research. And what they found that becomes really integral to our work is that we have to critically examine at every step along the research process, should race be included here? As my hypothesis, my analysis, every step along the path, re-examine, should race be a part of this? Are there other factors that might in fact be more appropriate? And as we get better and better data out there, bringing those drivers into bigger data sets to allow us to in fact make better recommendations.
So in addition to directing researchers to really carefully consider race at every stage of the research project, the NASM report also directs funders and sponsors of research, as well as editors and publishers of scientific journals, to give really clear directions to researchers in terms of considering race very carefully and articulating the why race is actually included in analysis and what are the benefits and harms of either using race or excluding race.
What's really remarkable about this body of work is that by making these changes, we actually can potentially make care better for everyone. For example, for a woman who's had a first C-section and would very much like to avoid having a second one, you can be offered a trial of regular labor. Black patients, in fact, were less likely to be offered a trial of labor because the algorithm said they were less likely to do well. In fact, research and the evidence base has changed that and has demonstrated that it isn't really Black race that's the factor that makes you less likely to be able to succeed. In fact, it's whether you have chronic hypertension.
There is a generation of physicians who have been trained, who have been taught using inappropriate algorithms based on race, ethnicity, including my generation of physicians. And so I think unwinding that core training is a huge task, but I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged that the folks who are most energized and activated by this movement are the early career physicians, and they are challenging dogma and unwinding status quo in ways that previous generations did not.
It is hard for physicians and clinicians to accept that perhaps they have been engaging in an inequitable process from the beginning, because a lot of us go into this to help, not to hurt, right? But race essentialism, which is the belief that there is a biology behind race, an incorrect belief that there is a biology behind race, is completely embedded in the way that we are taught medicine, the way that we teach medicine, and ultimately how we practice medicine.
I'm often asked, well, Dr. Wright, what's the solution? How do we fix it? We're beginning to have the kinds of conversations and looking into issues and problems that haven't been addressed for decades, if not hundreds of years. It may sound a bit sobering to think of this in the context of generational transformation. That's what it is. It all starts with the science. It all starts with research. It all starts with curiosity and discovery.
Better research.
For better medicine.
For better health.
For everyone.